So originally I had planned to finish everything and, review all at once. I finished, like, it would only be 3 parts for the Comic Haul. And I finished all of them, last of them for a third part, and that's what it would be consistently from now on. However, you will soon see that there is not one, but 2 series that were 80 pages each. I've not gotten to the second one, and one of them was bad enough to read, as each issue was 80 pages long, over 80 pages long. And the other one is Dark Knight. The Strikes Again is 80 pages. I don't know why, but they made it 80 pages long for 3 issues. They couldn't just do it 6 issues and have it be 40 pages. And that's a lot for me to read when I have to go to school, or work, I work at school, every morning and most of the afternoon. That's a lot. And then I come home, and of course there's like things I want to do beforehand and all that shit. So trying to read that many comics, and I don't mind just read one, so I read a few more, and then I get to the ones that I want to read. That's a lot. And so I think that I might just return to Dark Knight Returns. Just read the 4th one. Actually, I could return it right now, actually, because I do have the original Dark Knight, but I still want to read it in oversized format. And then maybe check it out again. But I probably won't do that. It's just 3 more issues. It's got to do it till Friday. But if I keep taking days off, I probably want to do that. Because again, it's 80 pages long. And even Dark Knight Returns is a lot to get through. That's 50 pages. Not that much far off. So further ado, let's get on to the ones I'm going to be reviewing. So for that, there's 4 more left. There's Dark Knight Redemption 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the 2 mangas and there's Batman. Huh, never mind then. So it's 3. The 2 mangas I showed, actually, both I didn't show off, so never mind then. So there you go. It's even better. I haven't shown them off yet. But what I'll do is take a snapshot of it, and then I might do Instagram. What I say like that? I mean, oh no, sorry. What I'll do for those is that I'll just do like, you'll just get like a text review for those and for Batman. Maybe I like showing out the comic, and that's the only way I can do it. Unless I print out a piece of paper and say, oh, this is actually for Dark Knight Returns. I can just take out my copy of Dark Knight Returns, saying, of course, I read Dark Knight Strikes Again. But what I'm trying, the whole point of doing that is to read everything from Dark Knight Returns, because I've read everything besides Dark Knight 2. I don't know why, but I just always been. Anyways, let's get into it. All the other ones are good. I actually do like Master Race. Everything after that I thought was terrible, but Master Race I think is pretty good. Like, it's the closest you get to the original, I would argue. Since we've gotten many, many sequels, of course. But anyways, first up is Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. This is a sequel to Jason Latour's amazing, incredible Spider-Gwen run. A run that the first time I read it, I was like absolutely floored. It's one of those comics that, without giving too much away, goes for it. It has stakes. It doesn't just feel like another silly Billy comic. Like, I would say it's kind of like, it's what comics should do, honestly, is have actual stakes and keep those stakes, not just retcon it or be like, oh wait, no, this didn't actually happen, and at the last minute this person comes in. No, that doesn't usually happen. And this is also a pretty good one. There's a reason for it existing. It does provide you with new stories. However, there's 2 major flaws. One is that right smack dab after issue 1 is Spider-Geddon, because I guess they're like, hey, after Spider-Gwen Volume 1, actually Issue 1, after Spider-Gwen Issue 1, when back when Jason Latour first wrote it, we had Spider-Verse. Now we're going to do the same thing with this run. After Issue 1, we're going to have Spider-Geddon, the sequel to Spider-Verse. Now, Spider-Verse, they did catch you up. They said, hey, this happened, she met these characters, met all the Spider-Mans. You don't, while we do ask that you read that, you understand that some people just want to read the Spider-Gwen ongoing and don't want to read Spider-Verse and have to read this and then that and that. And of course, they don't have money and just don't have money to afford another comic and all that shit. But here, it was kind of confusing. I did gather some information. Thankfully, eventually, I did kind of stray away from it. But I was like, oh, yeah, so kind of wish I'd read Spider-Geddon. I wish I'd known, because I do think my library does have Spider-Geddon. I could be wrong, though. But all in all, I still thought this was good. The second flaw is that sometimes, you do feel Jason Latour's absence. It doesn't feel like it really does not feel like it's Jason Latour's baby, rather, if you will. And yeah, I know technically it's Dan Slott because he was in Spider. Actually, I think it was still no, it was still written by Jason Latour. I take it back. Co-written by Dan Slott, I believe, but I could be wrong. I just because I know Dan Slott wrote Spider Verse, I always just naturally assume he also did Edge of Spider Verse, the prequel comic. But this all in all, I do like. I think if you like Jason Latour's run like I did, you'll like this one just fine. After this, I think a Spider Clone Gwen, but I can't be too sure. They don't do this thing anymore where they say Spider Gwen Volume 15 or anything like that. They gotta keep going to number ones. They gotta keep doing mini series and shit like that. There is one by Tim Seeley. I'm gonna avoid like the plague though. I may just read Spider Clone, whatever the hell it's called, and then be done with that at that point. Because there's also a new series out right now, so it's kind of like, I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Spider-Man: The Death of Jean DeWolf. Now, I have always cited Kraven's Last Hunt as being my favorite Spider-Man comic of all time, and I think, no, it is now my second favorite Spider-Man comic of all time, because this is my all-time favorite Spider-Man comic of all time. Hard to review those because they don't go by arcs, like you like I'd say my favorite like all-time Spider-Man. Honestly, this whole era is my favorite. Like, I really love this era of Spider-Man's black costume saga. May just pick up that omnibus whenever I get back into collecting comics that aren't Image, just from Image, because I'm a completist. And I want everything, and Image is the best way to get everything, and also get good stories. That's my little TLDR for why I've been exclusive to Image. Yeah, I know there's Dark Horse and Vault Comics and a bunch of other indie publishers, but Image has been the best for me. Of course, I like those other publishers, but just Image has done everything for me. Anyways, but this one might have my favorite comic of all time. For Spider-Man, at least. My favorite Spider-Man comic of all time. Because number one is my favorite era of Spider-Man, the Black Costume Saga. It also has a lot of stakes, also feels like it's very far ahead of its time. And for the most part, the pacing is really damn good. And it does feel they're going for like a kind of like a TV series of the time, like a suspense crime TV show of its time, and it kind of does nail it. It kind of does feel, yeah, I haven't seen those, but like it feels different. Thus, I naturally assume, and I've heard that is how it does accomplish this. That does feel like a comic version of those TV crime shows from back in the 80s. So definitely my favorite Spider-Man comic of all time. Now, of course, there's Ultimate Spider-Man that comes very close, and again, most of the Black Costume Saga, the first, like, I would say 252 to 258, that is, like, page-turning good. And of course, I've not read every single Spider-Man comic of all time, but so far, that's this whole Black Costume Saga itself is my favorite. And, of course, what's funny is I also really like the homage, like, Spider Shadow I really liked. Symbiote Spider-Man so far I've been really enjoying. But there you go. Astonishing X-Men is pretty damn good. I already feel like I need to reread it because of how complicated and not complicated, because how much there's going on with this book, But I did enjoy this one. I think I did like this one more than I did. I don't know actually. It's just a damn good X-Men book. Like, if you're skeptical because you don't like Joss Whedonisms, I would say give this a shot. Give this a chance. No, it's not free anymore. They used to have the first volume for free for Prime reading, but they've done purge, both Marvel, DC, and I almost want to say Image, IDW too. All of them have been doing the definition of purging comics from Prime reading. Whoever's in charge of doing that for what books they want to have as Prime reading and which ones they don't, they've been like screwing everything up. They've been taking away books that have been there for years. Like literally ever since I first found about Prime reading, those books have been there ever since then. Like since I was in high school. That's almost 8 years. Since 2018, I'd say. 2018, 2019. Those books have been, even before then, those books have been there and they're gone. Because some asshole decides, hey, you know what? I want you to pay for that now. Never mind the fact that I got you into these series because all we gave you was volume 1, so it was an incentive to pick up the whole entire series, and also volume 1. Hell, maybe even the omnibus, which is the most expensive way to pick up that series. But no, they want to take it away from us. I understand when DC Comics say that they have like a like someone hacked into their system and like put out a bunch, like literally 200 books from DC Comics into Prime Reading, entire series. So you had all of Hellblazer, all of Preacher, all of Sculpted, among many, many other classic DC Comics. I get why that's not going to stay there forever. Because then the comic industry, especially for DC Comics, is really going to go down under. People are like, you know what, get the best book comics here, so I'm not even going to get the friggin' trades. But it was just like, why? Why'd you take away Captain Marvel? Actually, I think that's still there. Why'd you take away, like some Star Wars books are gone? It's just very weird. Very weird that they did that. But anyways, moving on. And of course, like I said, Astonishing X-Men Volume 1. Which it might be there, I don't know. The Blue Flame. This, I think, is my pick of the week. This has been such an enjoyable read. However, there's one big flaw. The cosmic stuff loses me. I love the stuff. The actual human characters, and actual human interactions. It's a complete inverse of, like, you know, because Godzilla movies, everyone will say, oh, oh my god, the action's so good, and the effects are so good, the CGI is flawless, and oh my god, like, it's so good, and they say, oh, the human stuff is absolutely boring, and that's what tanks their overall rating. That is about the inverse for me for Blue Flame. I don't like this stuff with the cosmics and he's in like the aliens. I thought that was kind of not lame but kind of annoying. Like whenever I got to it, I was like, okay, pacing, second and nosedive, awesome. But the stuff with the human characters is really damn good. Like talks about like heavy subjects and does them in a mature manner that you would not expect someone like Christopher Cantwell to be able to handle. Very, very solid stuff, and I do highly recommend this comic. Again, because it's not like the cosmic stuff isn't too apparent. It's in every issue, but I would say each issue is like 30 pages, and that takes up like 10 pages, 10 to 15 pages, about half it. But I didn't really notice it. Like I even saying it was 15 pages of a 30-page comic sounds like a lot. But Blue Flame might have been pick of the week. Then Batman Under the Red Hood, which I already think I'm gonna like the movie version a lot better. I watched the movie a long, long time ago, and I remember bits and pieces from it. It's so much so that when I was reading this comic, I was like, "Hey, that's from the movie. That's pretty cool, like almost word for word." And I rewatched the scene. I was like, "Yep, that is exactly word for word. That's awesome." But while I remember the story, there are certain elements that I don't remember. Of course, I don't remember how they explain how Jason Todd comes back. Oh yeah, spoilers for a 1,000-year-old comic in comic years. Jason Todd is back in this book. That's where he comes back. And he's Red Hood. And I don't remember in the movie how they explain his return. Because I know it's not the Superboy thing. Because that was the one thing everyone loves with the movie over the comic. Is they don't do Superboy Infinite Crisis BS. They instead say something else. I don't remember. And there's, of course, I also have heard that the overall, like, pacing and, like, certain things that put in, like, the comic, they expunge from the movie. There's an entire subplot that no one liked that is not present in the movie. There's, like, certain character moments are fleshed out better in the movie. So, all around, I think that I like the movie a lot better, but I still think this is a wonderful companion. If you've read the movie and that you're interested in reading the comic, this will not disappoint. I'll go over, I'm done with the next two, so I've got 2 left. I will go back over them and do the out of 10 reviews. Sandman, The Kindly Ones. I said this is my 3rd favorite book. This is mid, and as far as Sandman goes, because a lot of it I really like, and most of it I didn't like. I don't know what it is, but the dreaming stuff. It's just like every other time I read it, I find it extremely boring. Then I'll read it the next time and be like, what was I on to find that boring? I think it's because it takes away from the overall story. Yes, there's a point here, and there's always been a point to have the dreaming subplots, but it just kind of, like, I think it takes away from the overall narrative. Now, every other time I've liked it, but here it's just really apparent. Like, a good example of why I don't like A Dreaming is Preludes and Nocturnes. I just thought that was, like, the worst parts of Sandman overall. Although I did like the... honestly, I think it was just here I didn't like The Dreaming. Because every other part, like, when they include Dream and Death and all those characters, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little additive. And they always find a clever way to integrate those characters. You're like, oh, and it builds the lore, and that's pretty cool. But here, and it just kind of lost me. A couple things I liked, but overall, I was like, can we just get back to Lita Hall? Thank you. But all in all, I think this is towards the middle. Maybe it still would be my third favorite, but I still think that... I think I said volume 4 and 5, right? Because no, 5 and 7, because 6 was just smack dab in the middle, and it was like, oh, that one I didn't like, you know. But I think my all-around favorite is the Thessaly stuff, like that storyline with her, and when they find out who Thessaly is, that is an all-time favorite. Like, and Barbie, and I believe Ken. And I don't think he's in that book though at that point. And also, volume 2 is pretty damn good. Those are my favorite. My all-time favorite is the one with Barbie, Thessaly, and all of them. My dog just barked, so I'm gonna do this really quickly. This is the one that was 80 pages. Superman Space Age, 3 issues, 80 pages long. You feel each and every page. It was annoying. Like, I think I might like this comic a lot more if it was cut in half. Like, not cut in half. It was cut in half, and it was 6 issues. Still the same amount of pages. Still everything was kept in, because a lot of this is really good. But when you're reading 80 pages, the critic in you was like, didn't need that. That's kind of unnecessary. That could make the comic a lot shorter if you didn't include this. But it's more Superman and Justice League, the Space Age. And I did really enjoy this book. I thought it was good. I do recommend it. But it is very, very long. And you do feel it each and every page. I know it's stupid. Well, you could just take a break. And I did. But still, it's like I was on the same book for 3 hours long. But I still like this book. I still recommend it. It only... Like, if I would give it a rating, it would only go down 1 point. Because... Not even 1 point. 0.5 points. Because of the pacing. Being kind of trash. Because of it being 88 pages. I think it's actually 88 pages, right? Last I checked. That's why it took me so long to read 3 issues. And they should have been one of the first books I reviewed. So I'm gonna go over them and go out of 10. 7 out of 10. 7.5 probably. 9.5 out of 10. No, you know what? So that's 10 out of 10. So my favorite Spider-Man book. It gotta be 10 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Solid 8. Gonna be very controversial, but 6 out of 10. And 7.5 out of 10. Now, is it how many was it? How many was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I gotta take out the library books. As you could tell, some of these books were in my personal collection. This Spider-Man here. I'll show. It matters. Just these 3. 4? Nope, 3. Duh, because 4 plus 3 equals 7. I should know this. I work at a school. That's why I don't work at any math classes. Or help out any math classes. If you want to know my position, as a paraeducator, I just help out kids. Barely, because they all know what they're doing, but here and there. When they want help. Because you got one of those kids, some of those kids are like, want help. It's like, alright. Fail, I don't care. If you don't want my help, you can fail. And we actually are allowed to do that too. But anyways, that's it.